Okay, there are two questions I get a lot. One has to do with what can a CEO do? What do they have the authority to do? And the other one has to do with what do I look for when I'm hiring somebody? So I'll start with the first question. So can a CEO do anything they want? Well, technically they can, but think of it this way. You can fart in church, but that's probably not the appropriate thing to do either, right? So the same thing happens with a CEO in their role. You just can't do anything that you want. I think of a story that was told to me in the 70s, and I've never forgotten it, about a guy who owned a very large business in Wisconsin, a well-known company that I won't name. He pulls up to the loading dock and he sees a guy sitting there doing nothing. So he walks up to the employee and he says, "What the heck do you think you're doing?" And he says, "Well, I'm just sitting here wasting time." And he says, "Well, you're fired." And he hands the guy all the cash in his wallet, which was something like $500, and the guy says, "Thank you," and leaves. Well, come to find out, the employee wasn't his employee, it was somebody else just sitting there waiting to pick up a package. And so, yes, a CEO can do anything they want, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do the right thing. And so it's important that CEOs know their role and that they stick with it. Now, a good CEO doesn't interfere with people throughout the rank and file. They know what the reporting lines are, and they know who to talk to, and they know how to best get things done. They might see something that's out of order as they walk through, and they might ask a question about that. But generally, they follow the right protocol, and they follow the right chain of command. And so when I walk through a business, when I'm in the role of CEO or COO, and I'm just touring the business like I do every day, I believe in walking the floor every day of whatever company you're in, just to get to talk to people and just to get to know what the pulse is of that office day to day. And you'll find all kinds of things, but you'll also find that they tend to keep the place moving then. It's just sort of like they know you're coming through. So, you're not going to see a whole ton of problems. At least I hope not. But the goal is that by getting out and talking to people while you're in a leadership role, you'll know some of the things that are going on in the business, but don't interfere with everybody doing their work. That's just not cool. Instead, what you do is you work through the leadership command of those people who are in charge, and you say, "Hey, I noticed something that I think could probably be improved." And you do it in a way that you don't get down on them and accuse them of anything. You go through and you just kind of gently nudge things into place, and you watch the change happen over time. You don't want to dispirit your leadership team in any way. But no, a CEO generally can't just go in and hire and fire and do all of this stuff without causing major disruption for the business and without creating other problems elsewhere. And those are the CEOs that then call us when they do, and they say, "I got a problem because I just had a senior leader quit, or I had my whole senior leadership team walk out." I say, "Well, why did that happen?" And then come to find out they did some bonehead move by interfering in some of the senior leadership's duties in the first place. And so a CEO has to be mindful of their role and the responsibilities that they have and the people that they've entrusted to do their jobs. These micromanager CEOs typically don't get very far. Those are the ones that come to us and say, "Oh, I'm really stressed. I don't want the business to get any bigger." And I immediately think, yeah, probably because you're micromanaging the hell out of the company. I was going to use a different word, but I can't. They're micromanaging the heck out of the company, and that's become kind of a problem. And it happens all the time. It happens with generally founder-style entrepreneurs who own the whole business, and they grow up and think that they can do anything that they want in their business and discover, no, not if they wanted to run at optimum. Good CEOs know what their role is, they keep it narrowly defined, and they trust their people to do their job all the way through the rank and file, and they just don't interfere in their day-to-day stuff. It's of critical importance because the fact is that when you're running a small company and a large company, the amount of time that it takes to do things is roughly the same. What I mean by that is my mother had a small boutique. She worked the store hours all day, and then she went home at night and she did payroll and she did other things, and she worked very, very long hours. I know CEOs that run massive companies that don't work as many hours. Why? Because they delegate. They have a small team that report to them, and it works on down from there. I also know of another company where the CEO has a whopping 29 direct reports. There's no way that company's efficient. There's no way they're making good decisions. Just think of getting an hour on the calendar of that CEO with 29 direct reports all doing something different. It isn't like you have 29 people sitting in a back room making widgets where everybody's doing the same thing and you could talk to the group as a group. No, this is 29 individual direct reports in different departments. It's asinine. It's stupid. It's just a bad way to run a company. And so you as a CEO cannot be sitting there trying to delegate to each individual of those 29. Even if you spent 1 hour a week with them, that's still 29 hours out of your week just spent in those silly meetings when you have so many more important things to do. Even if you met with them as a group, you still can't give everyone the attention that they need. So knock that stuff off. Get your company to a point where those direct reports, those 6 or 7 people, 6 to 9 is about what you should have as direct reports. And that's it. Some have even less. I know one individual who's running a marvelous company. He has 3 direct reports. That's it. That's all he has. And the company is doing fabulously well. Don't talk about this whole idea of, well, we have flat management and we don't have a lot of people in various ranks throughout the company. Nonsense. That tells me that you're highly inefficient. And so what you want to do is you want to have it so that people can do their job. They don't have a lot of people reporting to them so they can focus on what they do best, which isn't just meeting with all of these individuals in this big group. That's just not a great way to run a company at all. And so can the CEO do anything they want? Now, here's another restriction. It all depends on how much ownership you have and who you report to as CEO. So everyone thinks, well, the CEO can just do anything they want. Well, most of them report to a board of directors. And the board of directors sets the mandates on what they're supposed to be doing in their role. They create a report of what they think they want to do with the organization, goes to the board kicks it around, the board says, yeah, this is a great mission, and away you go. Because the board has to report to the shareholders. Now, it's true that the CEO may be the largest shareholder in the company, but even then, they can't do anything they want. Not if they want their company to run at optimum. Your goal as CEO is to hire the very best people that you can find. And great talent isn't going to come to work for you if you're constantly telling them what to do. And so you have to be the kind of CEO where you have just a small team that you manage, and those people report to have other people report to them, and so on down the line. And you can have group meetings where everybody gets the same message at the same time, and you can double check throughout your organization to make sure that your message is traveling clearly through your organization. I know of one CEO who does an incredible job of getting his senior team what he considers to be well calibrated, meaning that he knows what they say, when they say it, and what it means. He's worked with them a long time. So he's able, when he hears information back and when he provides information to them, he knows that it's going to get into the right hands at the right time. You're going to have certain people where you're going to tell them what you think the mission is and what you think they need to do, and they're going to misinterpret it. I've had that happen where somebody who was a direct report to me, I would tell them, this is sort of what I'd like to see happen. And instead they leave the room and they say something completely different. So their listening skills are not that great. Those are the people that you have to work with the most. Those are the people that make the most time to get what you say and what they hear in proper alignment, and that may take some time. I could talk all day about the subject of CEOs because if you've read any of my stuff, you know I'm pretty hard on them, including myself. I am the poster boy for mistakes in the role. And so I'm trying to share everything I know with you so that you don't do the same thing again. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to follow us and know where we are, you can find us in a bunch of places. We're on middlerock.com, which is our website. Up at the top, you'll see things for upcoming Zoom events that you can participate in. We bring in other speakers and we talk about entrepreneurship. You can also find me on Tom on Entrepreneurship on Quora. as well as Tom Nault on Quora. I also have a personal website, tomnault.com. You can find there, but I don't talk about business as much. So you can find us in all of those different places. And so we hope to hear from you. Write us, let us know what you think. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell when the next one is coming up so that you're notified. And thank you very much for being here.